Dallas Workshop, 1981, Friday evening.
Do 1 or 3 movements and stop, and then do mentally. I will teach you how to do that afterwards, but I can't start by teaching and talking at the same time. So, you take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself, nobody will. Certainly not I. If you come afterwards complain, I have pain, you have to blame yourself because you don't listen to what I'm saying now. Please do, if you have trouble, if the movement feels a little bit of whatever, do as few movements and as little and as small and as weak and as ugly as you possibly can. And don't compete with yourself. Because if you compete, you will have a very strong will, but you will have a very poor health. And it's better to have a good health than a weak will. Because in order to do things properly, you don't need will. Willpower is already an indication of weakness. If I have to make an effort in order to tell you something, or talk to a big audience, if I talk to an audience, I haven't got the courage to talk to you. It's already a weakness, and willpower won't do anything. I can do anything. I'll make a willpower and I'll talk now and be serious. That's not talking. If I'm afraid of you, willpower won't help. Friendliness may, but willpower not. So anybody who wants to have a strong willpower and a wheelchair, please have it. So I won't repeat it again. I say so, but I always do repeat it again, because it's not a joke actually, it's life is like that. I say no, and then next morning somebody came and said, I felt so nice after the lesson. And this morning I couldn't get up. And, well, because somebody having trouble and using this, because he feels nice after the lesson, believing that he is rid of it, and therefore he can take bones and muscles that have been in a poor state for months or years and get them right in one moment and be able to do what healthy, strong people can do, and then believe in God and God knows what. All right, now, for today it's enough. We won't say anything of the sort anymore. That's one thing. Now the next thing is a very funny one. I was only about a month ago in Freiburg, Germany, and a big audience than here. And I had it translated, that's why I never write little pieces of paper. But here I have security, Sicherheit, status, terror, recognition, Anerkennung. I don't speak well German. I started, so I had to translate it into German, so I wrote it. But my question was this. Many people come to my course really not knowing what they're going to get. They don't know what they're coming for. Where is the movement, functional integration? What does it mean? Nobody really knows. In fact, I barely know what it is. So people come, and then I ask very often, and that's what I did, ask the Germans, why do you come? In America still they've read my books, there are now books in German too, maybe somebody. But why did you come? You think. Try to think, find out for yourself. Is it the feeling that you want to learn to give service to others. It's a very poor thought. Very few people came for that. But some people feel lack of security, an inner lack of security. And they say, oh, he's doing something funny about it, and it works through the body and the mind. Maybe I will get something out of it. So some may come of that with a funny thought like that, security. Then some may feel their status, raise their status. If somebody, some of my practitioners in the community where they work have risen to a very high position. People get benefits, improvement of health, and they improved and they got respected in their community and their status rise. Many people think, I'm going to learn that and my status will rise. Then popularity or recognition or authority or acceptance or approval or lack of affection. Many people have a lifetime without affection and they need it. And they think maybe we'll get something here which will help. And then some people, which I know already because some of them found, have sexual difficulties. And these are many more than meets the eye in the world over, not only in America. In France, so famous for their amour, they have more trouble than you. And the Germans have trouble, and the Jews have trouble, and the Catholics have trouble, and the love trouble, sexual trouble, everybody has. Don't worry. Then you may come with the idea, many of my practitioners make something between $60,000, $70,000 a year for working a few days a year, a few hours a day, and not the whole the week, which is a very luxurious income, and they're respected. So many may come and think, I'm going to learn that because I will raise my wealth, glamour, or whatever it is. Fame, power, or change something like. Well, I ask you all these questions. You can think a minute. She's so quickly asked that one hasn't got the time to examine oneself properly. What is the thing that brought me here? But just for 10 seconds, think, what brought you here? What was the prime mover? What decided you to come? What decided you to write, to pay, to come here? You needn't tell me that because I want only to tell you, but for whatever reason out of the 25 reasons I ask you, I think you'll get more than you expected. Whatever your reason was, you will get more than you expected out of the lessons. It's a tall promise, and you needn't believe me. You know why I know that you will get more? Because I believe that the great majority of humanity has better brains than they use, because they use only about 10% of the brain. Therefore, obviously, they have 90% of reserve. And if I make you use another 2%, you will be near genius. Yeah. And by the way, I can't make you use more of your brain, only you can. I will only provide conditions in which you can. So that's one thing. Then most people are nicer and more intelligent than they look. Yeah, believe it or not. I have been in contact up to now with about 200,000 people the world over in about 7, 8 different countries. I found that at the end of the course, the group is linked in a big family with friendly people who didn't know each other a day ago. Suddenly they find that they have common interests as human beings. And this is an extraordinary feeling. It's an extraordinary feeling. It makes one feel human instead of humanoid. I mean, we are human animals, but society is far from being a human society. With the trouble we have the world over, with everything going wrong and the future looking so black, with ecology, with atom bombs, with wars, with shooting popes and shooting the presidents and things like that. What sort of world is that? In spite of that, I am from a land of prophets, and I believe that it's not a prophecy, it's saying that the next generation will be infinitely better than we are. And one of the reasons is that so many people come to this. That shows you that most people actually know inwardly that they can do something more for themselves than they ever did. And they are keen doing that. And as I told you, I hope I will give you more than you expected. And therefore, we should get very nice results, maybe even tonight. Now, don't you think that we're going talking all the time, though we will have to talk. But my work consists in an extraordinarily simple yet very difficult thing. Difficult and simple. Therefore, it's also easy, provided you can tune yourself into that, and that is that you have to listen to yourself. It's difficult, but I will show you how to do it. Everybody knows that you can learn many things, and there are so many different disciplines, and there are about 250 different therapists in America. So if you start counting them in the alphabetic order, you get 50 in a few minutes. Bioenergetics and the transpersonal analysis and the primeval cry and Freudian analysis and Adlerian and the Reich and whatnot. You get 250. But and therefore it shows that people can learn through many disciplines. You can learn through breathing, you can learn through yoga, you can learn through mathematics, you can learn through music, you can learn. Actually, you teach some even backward children, you give them occupational therapy. It means that everything can be used for therapy. But nobody has made movement into a therapy. It's not a therapy, it's actually a growth of personality. And you will see, I will explain to you later, that without movement, there's no life. Therefore, it's the best cue to life. If there's no movement, in your movement, you can tell whether you are fit for life and how your life goes on. Suppose, just to take a simple example, suppose you see me, I walk like this. Then you can tell me immediately. Yeah, you see, even that frightens me. It's like that. You see? And I can walk way up and macaroni Mussolini and whatever you want. And of course, you can see by movement, you can tell who I am, what sort of idiot I am from the first glance. Then now, obviously, if my movements are something which is pleasant to see, and actually performing the thing which I'm trying to do, then this is a kind of thing that every one of us here is capable of improving, transforming, changing, which is all that is wrong because you can't change, you can't transform, you learn something, that's the real thing. Everyone can learn something which will help him to grow from the point where he left off. Most of us leave off growth at an early age. It's about sexual maturity, 12, 13, for boys and girls. You are recognized as a grown-up person. You feel a grown-up person by the first sexual appearance in your life. And after that, we, all of us, don't grow personally anymore. We learn a job, we learn a profession, we learn something which is important to the society. But the society can be of zebras. And they don't have inflation and they don't have to choose presidents, but they do the right thing, the whole lot of them together. So, in our society, we need a society of human beings that have a greater say in what's happening around the world and around ourselves, so that we can manage to have a life as we want to have, and not just be carried away by other people's opinions and by saying, I have no say. And you will see that by the end of the evening you will feel something of an improved respect for yourself. So now the talking is over because we are going to do a movement in order to learn how to improve our own life easier than what is offered around the world. Would you please lie on your right side? Lie on your right side. And wait a minute, it's not so simple. Lie on your right side and put your right hand somewhere so you see as relative to the length of your body, your hand should be a little bit more forward, just like that. And put your head on that arm. That's right, a little bit more forward. Not so straight overhead, a little bit more forward. More at right angles, a little bit more at right angles to your body, a little bit more, so that you feel like you're bending. Now, bend your legs, bend your knees, and put the left knee behind on the floor, and the right one in front, of course, a little bit. And organize yourself so that you're comfortable on the floor. This, you will see in the end that any of the things I advise you to do now is actually a question, why do I say that? Why couldn't you leave the leg on the other? You ask, why the hand like that? What for? And believe it or not, I have a clear, precise, convincing answer for every one of those questions. And during the few days we're going to be together, I will give you an opportunity to ask those questions. And you will find that some of the questions are more important than the act, and some of the acting is more important than the answers you will get. But you cannot do one without the other to begin. So you will do a little bit of that, a little bit of that. Now, what we are going to do now, that simple thing, very, very simple, is actually one of the major achievements of my life. Not this very thing, but the fact that I am able, and I've learned and evolved a method which allows me to turn abstract ideas into concrete, simple acts so that every human being can do it, feel it, and realize that he has actually not only a body but also a brain. Because without a brain, the body wouldn't be worth anything. Anesthetize your brain and you'll see what is your body worth. Nothing. Now, there are very simple things. We say life is a process, not a thing. And what do you mean by that? Life is a process. What do you mean a process? Does anybody can tell me how life is a process? What's the process? What is it? What sort of process? Is it like making rubber? Is that life is a process? What sort of process? Now, I want you to feel what sort of process that is. Would you please, your right hand, as it lies like that, you have the fingers turned a little bit to the ceiling, the tips of the fingers. Would you please make that movement as if you're going to make a fist and not make a fist? But very gently, very gently. Don't make a big fist, just move the fingers. Fingers as if to close the fist and stop it. And do it again and again, very slowly. Now, obviously when we make a fist like that and stop it, we flex our fingers and extend them. A little bit, flex them and extend them. We flex them and extend them. Now that's very, very simple. Though, if you looked at yourself doing that, you wouldn't think it's simple because most people do it differently from others. Every one of you does it sufficiently differently that if you looked at it and say, look, why do you do it that way? I do it like that. Now that's the kind of thing we want to see and feel. Now I won't stop you now, you do it the way you do it. Now, we say the left knee behind on the floor. Now, would you please now do the following thing, and you will learn something about yourself, which I don't know whether you knew. You do that, and when you do that, you flex and extend the fingers. Now, do with your foot, with your left foot, a similar movement. Do a movement, any movement. The foot alone, on the floor. Why do you have to lift it? It lies on the floor, let it lie on the floor. Now make a little movement with the foot, flexing and extending. Now keep on doing it with the hand. Now watch and see something very funny. When you flex your fingers, what do you do with the foot? You flex it, but then it goes up. It goes up to your nose, it goes up to your sex, it goes up to your face, doesn't it? When you flex it. When you flex it. Keep on doing the movement with the hand. And forget about the foot. Do with the hand, but a small, gentle movement. And then keep on doing the same thing, a movement with the foot. Just move the foot anywhere and see when do you flex the foot? When you flex the fingers or you extend the foot? Come on, watch, see. It's not simple. You flex the fingers and the foot. Do you flex or extend? Now, huh? You didn't answer me. I know what you're doing. Flex the fingers and see. Obviously, if you flex something, you do it with the flexor muscles. Now, what do you do with your foot? But of course, with the shoes, it's not raining here. You could take them off. Take off your shoes. Anybody who comes with shoes, I can tell you, you know why I'm telling things like that? Because if people get too serious, they can't learn. Because when they get serious, it means that they think it's so important, I must not forget, I must do that. In other words, they force themselves to do something, and that's not learning. Learning must be a pleasant thing. Actually, that's why early childhood is a pleasant life to healthy children, because they learn so much. Now, a German professor, in an introduction to human beings, found that the ugliest thing in a human being are his feet. And that most human beings hate the sight of their feet. During the day, they have them in shoes so that they don't see them. When they come home, the first thing they take off, they put on sandals, and when they go to bed, they put it under a cover so that they don't see him. In other words, the foot is the kind of ugliest thing in the human being that no human being wants to see it during his life. During the day it's in the shoes, and during the night it's under the cover. Now you can see coming here to sit there to work, why do you have your shoes on? Can't you take them off? Yeah. Well, what's wrong with your feet? Why don't you like them? Why don't you like your feet? You haven't got any others. You can't get anywhere another pair of feet. For the love of Mike and whatever money you have, you can't buy another pair of feet. Therefore, you better like these ones. So now, the important thing is that could you tell me which muscles on the leg are extensors and which are flexors? When you bend the foot towards yourself, do you flex the foot or you extend it? Obviously you flex it. So the flexors lift the foot. Yet when you do it together with a hand like that, you do flex and extend, and watch, you don't do them together. Now, as far as the muscles go, yes, but the movement is just opposite. The hand gets shorter and the foot gets longer. Huh? Did you know you have your hand and your feet for at least 20 years, and yet you don't know what the foot does when the hand is open? Now watch, do that. And don't hurry. If you do it fast, it's very difficult because we are not used to listening to ourselves with that precision. So watch. You flex the foot, and thereby you learn which are the flexors of the foot. The flexors of the foot, where do you find them on your leg? Is it the calf muscle or in front? The calf muscles are extensors. Yeah? In other words, you see, you extend your foot when you flex your fingers. Because the extensors of the foot extend the foot. And the flexors bring it up. Now, try to do the two things the way you would know. Flex the foot means bring it near to the knee, the toes, and at the same time do with the foot simultaneously. Now, that's right. Now you are flexing the foot and flexing the hand. But do it simultaneously. Now watch, when you do it simultaneously, what happens? Now, do you hold your breath now? And why do we have to hold our breath? And when do we hold our breath? You can see when you do something which you think is not easy and difficult, you have to hold your breath in order to feel strong. Well, you may actually continue breathing while you do that. Just stop it and see how you breathe when you do nothing. And now keep on doing it as if you were doing nothing. That's it. So you flex the finger and flex the foot together. You're not doing it. You're doing it you see? Now it's extending and you're flexing the foot. You will find that these are such simple things, but people have not learned the kind of things that they could have learned, and that's why their life is not so easy as it could be. You can see a person believes that she flexes the foot and flexes the hand at the same time, and yet she does the exact opposite. So now some people believe that they do flex the foot and flex the fingers together, but in fact they do the opposite and don't know. In other words, very often in life you may say something in a way which you believe you do it that way, and in fact you do the exact opposite and you don't know. And then of course when somebody doesn't like what you said, you can't understand. Your intention was good, but you did the opposite. In other words, unless we know what we are doing, we can't do what we want. In other words, we must learn, and we have learned a lot. But many people haven't learned it properly because of reasons and difficulties not of their own. The difficulties in humanity had great difficulties, and the education is limping for many, many centuries, doing the wrong thing, the wrong sort of teaching, the wrong sort of examinations, making it difficult for many people to learn, and many other reasons which we won't go in now in order not to interfere with our work. But difficult gadgets, and they never work properly. Is it all right now? All right, then, would you please lie again the same on the right side like you did before? And this time, flex your hand and extend the foot. It means make the foot longer. While you flex the hand, extend the foot, the left foot. Extend the left foot. Extend. You know what extension means? It means make the foot longer. Make it like a dancer jumping. Make the foot long, that's extending. And flex the hand and extend the foot. That's right. And then, of course, the opposite when you go back. And don't hold your breath. Do as if you didn't do a thing. Stop a minute and see how you breathe when nothing happens. And keep on breathing the same way while you do the things which I ask you to do. Not fast. Now, while you do that, what happens with your hip joints and the head? Just feel. Would you feel now, think that you're going to move, that the left leg, you will move it a little bit upwards with nearing your heel to the buttock, a little bit. Because if you do it many times, you will have cramps in your legs. Slowly, move the heel to the buttocks and move it away. And at the same time, flex your hand. Forget about the foot. The foot you move only with the heel a little bit nearer. Yeah. Now watch only. When do you bring the heel nearer? When you flex your hand or when you extend the fingers? Now, flex the hand and bring the heel nearer to your buttocks. Then extend the hand and of course bring it back. Now just see what limits the amount of movement of the leg. Why have you chosen that amount of movement and not more or less? No question. I'm not urging you to do it more or less. Just see what determined for you the amount of movement you do now. And you will see that while you do that, actually your pelvis moves a little bit. Your pelvis moves a little bit. And the left buttock moves a little bit. Now, you can also, of course, extend the foot a little bit more. That means take away the heel from not in the air, on the floor. On the floor. You take away the heel from your buttock and bring it near. But on the floor, don't carry the leg in there. And make the comfortable movement. You will see that will be one of our major preoccupations. To learn to do anything so that it feels comfortable, first of all. If it doesn't feel comfortable, you can learn it 10 years, you will never do it. You will never use it in your life because it's uncomfortable. Yeah? Just like when you begin to learn Chinese, you can learn Chinese as much as you like. You will not use the language before you know it comfortably. You can learn 5 years Chinese, but you will not speak Chinese. It must be comfortable before you can use it. Same thing here. First, make it comfortable. Then we will see, we'll get some other qualities of movement to make them so that they are part and parcel of our life and actually do something to improve our life. Slowly. While you do that, what would you like to do with your head? Would you roll the head forward or backward over the head? Just make a small movement and see how much does the leg move and how much do you feel a necessity of moving the head? Probably not. Maybe yes. I'm just asking. Pay attention to see whether you feel a necessity of moving the head altogether. Now, you keep on flexing the hand, but this time move your left knee away from the right a little bit and back again. And back again. Do that. And now watch. Does the head move at all? you will see some people actually when they do what I ask you to do, find the head lies on the arm, not in the air. Why? Slowly. You will find that when you do that, actually the body rolls a little bit. Don't roll it intentionally. If you roll it intentionally, you obey my orders or my suggestion. That's not a way of living, to go by other people's opinion. It may be sometimes necessary and useful, but for inner feeling, inner movement, you should do what you feel right and not what somebody tells you is right or wrong. Now, slowly. But you're lifting the knee off the floor. We never asked to lift the knee off the floor. We said move it away from, move it away. Then the leg must be flexed. If you don't feel that, then you are 3 years old. Surely put your leg on the floor, the knee on the floor, the left knee on the floor and the left foot on the floor. Flex your hand. No, you are lifting the leg off the floor. The knee is not anymore on the floor. You can't do that unless you flex your leg. No, your knee is not lying on the floor. Therefore, you can see you will be in your body another 50 years and you won't know to do that. It's important. But you see, many people do it as if they did it all their life. So good. Now, would you please, while you do that, think of making with the foot, with the ankle of the left foot, a circle on the floor. Now, some people have put the left hand on the floor in front of them. Do that. And you will see actually that it was a good idea at the beginning, but at this time you will find it rather useless. Put the left hand on the floor and keep on moving the left knee away and making a circle with the ankle of the left foot on the floor. Now watch, which direction do you move the ankle? Is it clockwise or counterclockwise? Suppose there was a dial underneath your ankle. Do you make the circle clockwise or counterclockwise? Well, some do clockwise and some counterclockwise. But what did you choose? Why did you choose this one? The knee on the floor, the knee on the floor, the left knee on the floor. That's right, slowly. Now, use your left hand on the floor and see that when you make a circle with that, whether it's easier to have the hand on the floor or the hand lying on your left buttock. Can you feel now that actually the whole body is moving a little bit, rocking forward and backward? Now take the hand away and put it on keep on doing it and you will see it's actually more comfortable now without the hand. It's more comfortable without the hand on the floor to most people. That's right. It gets more comfortable because the chest and the spine rock a little bit, and when the hand is on the floor, it actually does some extension of the muscles and the ribs, which makes it a little bit more awkward than if you let it rock a little bit right and left like that. Now, while you do that, would you please see whether doing that kind of rolling of the body a little bit, yes. Can you think of the distance between your extended toes and the extended fingers? think of that distance on the floor. How far is it? You needn't measure it in inches, but by feeling. It's a very long distance. Now, at that distance, obviously something lies on the floor that connects those two things. You will see that while we do what I ask you to do, the path that lies on the floor lies better and better. Would you please stop a minute and think of how would you bring your left knee under the right knee. Move your left foot while you keep on flexing your hand gently. By the way, this is a funny way of doing. While you do something, you keep on doing something very simple and easy. And you wouldn't believe that this doing something simply and easily with a thing that we have no intention of making an effort induces in us the idea of working gently and easily, and therefore the legs and the pelvis and the chest gradually begin to be simple and easy and move easily. And you will find here elderly, fat, and meager and sick people who will be able to move in a way that they have never moved in their lives. And in fact, better than anybody else can move now. Doesn't matter how young and athletic he is. By doing this simple sort of simple and apparently foolish thing. Slowly. Now, would you please attempt to move your left knee under the right knee? But don't do a big movement because you will find that you can't do it. It's so difficult. No, you lifted your right foot. No, I'm asking to move the left foot under the left knee under the right knee. You can't do it. And this is one of the things that you will learn. We will learn to do something, make the impossible feasible. At this moment, there's nobody who can put your left knee under the right knee. Because in order to do that, you have to lift the whole body into the air. The pelvis and everything. And that's too difficult to do. Most people can't do it. Therefore, make this simple movement. No, you lift your right foot. It's a question of putting the left knee under the right knee and not lifting the right foot. Slowly, you can't do it. It's much too difficult. You have to be a first-rate athlete to do that, or learn here at least an hour, which is equivalent. Slowly. Now you can see it's not simple. And we will do that. We will do the impossible, make it feasible, and then comfortable. Comfortable. And when it's comfortable, we'll make it also elegant. It means we'll do the movement so that no other movement interferes, no parasitic movement, just a clear, nice, cut, simple, easy, comfortable movement. And once it gets elegant, you will get it aesthetically acceptable to you. It means you will feel, look, I am doing it. You wouldn't even think I am doing it. You will feel just, that's nice, and that's good enough. In other words, impossible, feasible, comfortable, elegant, and aesthetically agreeable. All right? Would you now please lie a little bit on your back? Very slowly, lie on your back. Lie on your back, and you will see something very, very funny. Lie still a few seconds. Do nothing, just lie on your back. And you will see that the floor knows now which side has lost all the unnecessary tension it had before, and it can tell you. The floor doesn't tell you, and the floor doesn't know. Only you feel on the floor now that some parts of yourself lie flatter and easier and more comfortable on the floor than before. Pay attention and you will see. Some parts of you lie freely extended on the floor. And if you try to figure out which are the parts, you will feel that they have to do with the things we did. In other words, which shoulder blade lies flatter on the floor, which buttock, or which part of your pelvis, or which part of your chest lies clear in the more intimate contact on the floor than before, and which leg feels longer. And now slowly roll your head on the floor a little bit to the right and a little bit to the left, as easily as the flexing. A very simple movement, very small movement. Only feel to which side does the head go more and easier. You will see to one side the head rolls easier and more comfortable and makes a bigger movement with less effort. If you watch your chin relative to your clavicles, then you will see that one side the head moves quite appreciably more and easier than to the other side. Now, which side is it relative to your lying on the side? And you feel with some people it's quite, people who have a beard, and you look at it, looks very impressive. One side the beard touches the clavicle, and the other side it doesn't. See, one side the head turns notably more, about 25, 30 degrees more than the other side, and with less effort. In other words, what we said, what we learn and make it impossible, like putting the left knee under the right knee, we will see we'll get that. Though at this moment nobody succeeded doing it. Now watch, when you look, something incredible has already happened in your nervous system, in your feeling. If you look and see what I see, that there are no 2 feet now that are open the same way. One foot is open more than the other. And with some it's so marked that it is almost hard to believe that it could happen in such a short while. Yeah? One foot is open more than the other. And look, with some people it's incredible. Look how much one foot of yours is open more than the other. Can you see that? And if you think it's only yours, look at that lady's. Look at her. And then if you don't believe me, look at her, at his. And if you want to believe me, go and look. We will look at that in a minute or two, all of us. You see? And that means that one hip joint lost tension that he kept all the time. And therefore many of us have sciatica and arthrosis in the long run. And all sorts of trouble, not only because we have a bad inheritance or a bad DNA or a foreign, but because we do everything possible to destroy ourselves. Because we don't know what we are doing, and therefore we can't do it what we want properly for ourselves. Now, throughout the training that we will have here, we will abide by a funny, peculiar arrangement. We will work approximately an hour running, and then we will break for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, just the time to get up, go to the toilet or take a coffee and come back. And that is not because you are so dreadfully tired by doing such simple movement, only because learning is not effective after 50 minutes and an hour. Once, and by experience I can show you that if I did now try another thing to teach you, you will find it difficult to lie, difficult to listen, and many of you would probably go up to sleep and begin to turn from one side to the other, which shows that no learning takes place. Now, I would be teaching and find an audience who doesn't learn. So what's the object? The important thing that you learn something. And therefore, round about an hour, we'll make always a break of 5 to 10 minutes, depending of how we work. But before that, you saw that the floor, I put it in that way just to make you feel funny, because the floor doesn't talk to you, but you feel the floor. In other words, your sensitivity increased already sufficiently to feel that one part of the body lies better than the one there, though maybe through all your life you never thought of that and never paid attention to it. You can see that there is that. And then you will see that what we do it in the lying. Why in the lying? Why not standing? We will get to standing too, but by the time you roll on your side now, and will you keep just a few seconds still so that I can explain to you before the noise of talking to each other makes it impossible. You will roll on one side, the one which is comfortable to you, and use all the 4 members, means the hand and the knees and the feet, to get up. And when you get up, you will stand a few seconds and see and feel that both feet feel differently on the floor. One will feel that the floor is more comfortable and that it's easier, and the other one not. Would you please now roll on the side, get up, stand and have a look at each other. And by getting up, feel first of all, what do you feel in one foot touching the floor, and what do you feel in the other foot touching the floor? And which shoulder feels higher? One of them feels lower, so the other one must feel higher. Now, which one is the lower one? Which one feels the good one to you, the comfortable one? Now walk a little bit and see what you feel in walking. One foot works quite differently from the other, and one arm is quite different from the other, and one shoulder is different from the other, and one hip joint is different from the other. Walk around, and if you want a very nice experience, and we'll learn to do that, look, many people here, you don't know them. Have a look at them from behind and see which shoulder feels to you the nicer shoulder, the wider one, and which shoulder blade lies better on the floor, on the back. You will see that one of them lies better and one shoulder feels wider. And if you look at the people from behind, you can tell on which side they lied to do the exercise. In other words, something actually happened to every one of us. Now pay attention what you feel in your face. One side of the face feels longer and more extended than the other, and one eye is more open than the other, and one corner of the mouth is higher than the other. In other words, this innocent sort of thing looks funny, has made such a tremendous change in all the tonus of the muscles, of the face, of the back, of the legs, of everything. So maybe we will actually get somewhere. Now, you have now a few minutes to yourself, and I will rest my vocal cords a few minutes. Thank you.
Anything good for circulation? You know, I'm an old lady.
Oh yeah. I can work with people 90 years old and they still improve.